Hi, Internet. I wanted to make a video talking about games that mess me up emotionally. I am a firm believer that there are categories for games, and there are certain games that go over the top. Like, there are good games, don't get me wrong. There are games like the Tony Hawk games and the Fallout series and Skyrim and Left 4 Dead and stuff like that. Stuff that I actively play. Stuff that has a lot of nostalgia to me. Stuff that, I have fun playing. But I wouldn't classify those games as games that mess me up emotionally. That's a very specific category of games. There are very few games that mess me up emotionally. And it's because of that those games are typically highly rated in my mind. For example, my favorite game of all time is The Last of Us. And it's not because, the gameplay is anything special. I don't give a crap about the gameplay. It's because of the emotions I felt while playing it when it first came out on my PS3 way back in, what was that, 2013? I remember I got it for Christmas. I was 17, 18, something like that. And it was winter break between after my first semester of college. And it was bitterly cold, just freezing out. So I had nothing to do all day but stay inside and play video games. And if you've played that game before, you know how emotional it is, that it draws you in. And I mean obviously spoilers if you haven't played it, but I mean it's been 12 years at this point. Everyone kind of knows what happens. Um it really hit me that this was a different type of game when Joel's daughter Sarah gets killed within the first 20 minutes. And that left me in a state of like, holy crap, like this is something I've never played before. And I'm not gonna lie, it made me really distraught. And there's one scene in particular that always gets to me. And I have sort of a love hate relationship with the scene because it evokes so much emotion out of me. And I'm not entirely sure why it does. But it's late in the game. You're playing as Ellie, and she has been captured by the cannibal people who live in the resort. It's the winter scene, and she gets to the point where she's about to escape, and she's in a diner, and I can't remember his name. I think it's David. Kicks open the door, knocks it down, and then there's a stealth mission where you're going through the diner, and it's just you and him. And you're being chased by him, and you have to stab him 3 times. And I remember just being horrified at what would happen if this dude caught me. Um, and then of course you eventually stab him 3 times, and the cutscene plays. You go over to Joel, and then you come back, and the building's on fire and stuff like that. And the next scene where they wake up and the guy is sitting on top of Ellie in a very weird way, if you get the implications. And Ellie is desperately reaching for the machete that's under the chair. She finally gets it, and she just hacks him and hacks him and hacks him. And I consider that to be one of the most heartbreaking and amazing moments in gaming. Because just the emotion that was going through me at the time of like, holy crap, horrible things are about to happen to this girl and she's fighting for her life. And she wins, and the trauma that ensues from it is just like, it's crazy to go through. And it's for that scene and that scene alone that Last of Us ranks so high with me. Same with the Left Behind DLC, the emotion. When, she's in the mall with Riley and, they have their big moment where Ellie's like, don't go, and Riley takes off the pendant and throws it down and they kiss. And it's just the emotion of just like, please don't leave me. It's stuff like that that takes a good game and makes it exceptional. And that's something I don't feel in a lot of games anymore. The last game that really made me feel that way was me going back and playing Kingdom Hearts 2. And on Proud Mode, I decided to do a playthrough of the hardest difficulty. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. The hardest basic difficulty. There was critical mode, but I didn't feel like, dealing with that. It had been a few years since I had played Kingdom Hearts 2, so I was kind of out of touch. And I beat it. I beat Proud Mode. It took a while because the Roxas fight is just absurd. That I probably retried that fight 30 times. And at the end, Sora and Riku fly into the water near Destiny Island, and Kyrie's there, and Goofy, and Mickey, and Donald. And the music starts playing, and I cried. And it's just one of those, like, beautiful moments in gaming. And I'm an emotional person as is. And for a game to pull at my heartstrings like that, it's one of those things where you play a game, you beat the game, and then you sit there thinking about the game. Good games are memorable. Exceptional games emotionally cripple you for the next week. That's what makes a good game. Another example of that is Life is Strange. I played that game about a decade ago. And I think about it so often because it was such a roller coaster of emotions for me. And it dealt with not everything I had gone through in life, but a lot of the mental issues that go on in life. The worrying, the paranoia, the is everything gonna be all right? What's going on with life? And it's a game that I recommend to my friends at any chance I get. If I had the opportunity, I would have all of my friends sit down and play that game. Because that game means so much to me. And just because it's so emotional. Also, the soundtrack is amazing. But just because it's so emotional. Gaming is what you make of it, unfortunately. A lot of people don't have the same views as you. A lot of people, if you're like me and your first console was a PlayStation 1, you don't have the memories of playing the NES and Super Nintendo and seeing everything ramp up to the N64. You're kind of smack dab in the middle of everything. And you have to make of it what you can make of it. And a game will only be good if it tears me apart inside. The human body needs to feel uncomfortable, and the human body needs to feel disturbed in order to live. I've said it before, maybe not on this channel, but I say it, if everything was fine and everything was peachy and everything was calm and peaceful, I don't think there'd be much point to life. You need to have some bad to appreciate the good. As terrible as that is, you need to have some bad to appreciate the good. If you only have good, you have nothing. And games that show you the ugly underbelly of life make you appreciate them so much more. And to that extent, that is why The Last of Us is my favorite game of all time. So, thank you for sitting through this little video. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to throw it up on YouTube, obviously, but not sure how much editing I'm going to put into it. But yeah, I just wanted to say that I have a couple more ideas of more, what's the word I'm looking for, philosophical videos I want to make about gaming. So I have some opinions. But for now, if I don't see you again until Christmas, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. Happy December. Happy everything. Be happy. That's all I want.